Ladies and gentlemen, teachers, young students, you're our future. Welcome as the president of CERTOTTICA. We wanted to organize this sort of meeting within the MEDA, the most important international exhibition in the world in our industry, to highlight the importance of this memorandum of understanding, an official agreement with the Istituto Zaccagnini in Bologna that we feel is the largest school and also most competent and reliable school in our world. So this agreement between CERTOTTICA with the school, and already we are active in the Venetian region, but of course we have a domestic scope, and we are also active in Lombardy, in the Varese province, where we do have another important eyewear district. So with this agreement, we feel we are integrating and complementing the offering that we have in terms of education. Now I see that we have so many students coming from Paris, but also from Bologna. So I would like to remind you some of the training paths that we are offering. We are based in the Venetian region. We provide 5,000 training hours a year, 50,000 as apprenticeship, and we work with 140 companies in the sport system and eyewear industry. And in the Treviso area, we have the largest made in Italy district also for the sports system, and we also work at international level because we have agreements not only with the universities in the Veneto region like Ca' Foscari or the University of Padua, the University for Architecture and Design, but we do have agreements also with other universities at European level in Ljubljana and Salzburg. So agreements with universities based in the countries around us. But CERTOTTICA is also continuing on an important work with ANFAO and the Venetian region, the Veneto region. This is also another important agreement in terms of 6,300 teaching hours, including also companies being present in the network for employed and unemployed people with excellent results. We are also collaborating with the Reviviscar under the Entrepreneurs Association of Belluno. And then, of course, it will be up to CERTOTTICA's coordinator, Dr. Cristian Arboit, to tell you more in detail all about this training project. But let me instead focus a bit on the future of training. Last night, I think some of you were present, we had the CEO of Telios with us, which is our new reality between the Marcolin Group and Louis Vuitton, Giovanni Zoppa. Now, he's said two important things. Now, a lot has been said about Industry 4.0, but actually we should speak of Industry 1.0. So before digitalization, before the IT era, what has always been key for companies are human resources. So people actually are the first stakeholder in companies, and a company is successful because of its people. And so innovative training becomes key for the development of companies. And then we also wrote that down. He also mentioned the quality of lenses will make the difference in manufacturing, designing, and made-to-measure construction. So evolution in the optician world and optometry, it is key. And this is what Mr. Zoppas said. So he's saying lenses, but not just ophthalmic lenses, but also solar filters. And the quality of these products, and also the assembly quality in terms of glasses and lenses together. This is a future trend. And I'll stop here. I'll leave you with these statements, and I'll give the floor to the protagonists and to the key actors. As I said, we are starting this sort of new relationship with the Istituto Zaccagnini, and there'll be this collaboration between CERTOTTICA and Istituto Zaccagnini, and Istituto Zaccagnini will become member of CERTOTTICA by the end of this year. I'll be standing. I am like a challenge to life. I'm 95 is, and I come from a world that's so far away from your world of being active as a manager, as a consultant in different industries, and I just happened to work for eyewear after an accident I had. And within the Istituto Zaccagnini, I deal more with the strategies, and in particular with the business management school, where we do training not just to opticians in terms of managerial skills. So we help people managing better their business. And I'm going to focus on some aspects that are dealt with also by CERTOTTICA, because also in certification you do training, because when you show that the product cannot be certified, you are giving a lesson. So in our world, now I would like to give you some information to allow you to view things from a wider perspective. How can I move on the slides? So, of course, the school is actually following what the country is doing as part of our country, whether it's pros and cons and defects and good things. And unfortunately, we're running in a crisis in our school system, and the problem of this crisis is actually a very complex one, but it starts from this social instability that we now have, social distress that we now have in our country. So the economy of our country has been going down from 1952. So from that year on, we continued on worsening the situation, and actually lately we have now this very big problem of the public debt. Well, some people ironically say we will not pay it back, and meanwhile people just continued on, and through this globalization. Globalization is not that of the markets, but of economies, and it's cross-sectional to markets. These days, talking a lot about this former Whirlpool company that is about to be closed down due to the transfer of the business outside the boundaries of Italy. And this is actually an important issue affecting all of us. And this happened in different industries, like in the football balls that are now being produced in Bangladesh for just a few pennies. And this is globalization. We have not been able to control it. And then also concentration, production concentration system operating in a disruption regime. And now, when we realized that the old rules were not suitable anymore, the world, got disrupted, as we say, was not able to find replacements for the former rules. Former rules were obsolete, but no replacements were found for them. And then the IT revolution, that certainly, has changed also keywords, and now the last keyword in this revolution is digitalization. But this IT revolution also brought to the disappearance of physical stores. But of course, if the consumer is not finding the stores, won't probably find products then in the end. So here, our country is lagging behind in getting out of all these problems and issues. As I said, one big issue for us is the public debt, and the second big problem for our country is the school system and the education system. This is the economic history of our country. As you see peaks in terms of crisis, so actually troughs. So the blue line going up and down is the GDP that continued to decrease till the very last crisis of 2008 and 2012. And then you see that green line indicating the accumulation of public debt. So losses have accumulated and are building up, and this is why we fear that we're not given money anymore. And if a family has no money and always receives a credit, well, no one will give us a credit anymore. So this is the problem. And here you see the trend of the public debt. Of course, this will have an impact on your life. You're young, so you're about to start your working life and see the GDP line instead. We're not earning enough to pay our debt back. And as I said, you're young and you're about to enter the labor market, but this is the competitiveness trend in terms of labor cost per hour, and we have lost this race. We are stuck to the values of 10 years ago, so we are expensive in terms of labor cost, but at the same time those working are not earning much money because of the high tax rate. And here you see in the different colors are the other countries, including Spain, that has come out of the crisis and is speeding up again. But of course, you are not alone in this globalized world, and so you cannot just work alone. This is what comes out of the first two charts. This is the GDP per capita, and we are poorer than we used to be. This is not happening in the other European countries like Germany, France, and Spain. Spain has recovered and started growing again in 2014. But now I know that you are young, but what has Italy done to sort of favor those that are still attending school and those that are coming out of the education system? Now, here we see what are the issues at stake. We do see an increase in the Liceo Classico, so this is sort of direction of our high schools, where we still study Latin and ancient Greek. Today, we have people approaching culture that don't have much to do with it, and also lack of efficiency and consistency in the system. We have in Italy one of the best universities in the world, like Bocconi, but we also have some of the worst ones. And there has been a lack in investment in schools. So we are one of the countries investing less in education. And then, in terms of the rules and norms regulating the different professions, we're lacking all these rules. And law is not actually running at the same pace of what the professions are doing. This is the unemployment rate. As you see, we are actually at the right-hand side of the chart, with over 10% unemployment rate. But this is the figure I'm most interested in. This is the unemployment rate in the age among the youngest. And here you see that again we do have a very negative situation. 14.3 is the unemployment rate among young qualified resources. a problem is also a low number of people with a secondary graduation. And as you see on this chart, Italy is among those countries with the lowest percentage and also has not grown much. This chart is a bit more complex, but you see a yellow line in there, which is the average of OECD countries. And Italy, again, is, you see on the left, you have the blues up above, and we are actually one of the countries with the lowest number of people with a university degree. And as we saw in the previous chart, we also don't have many people with a second graduation. In schools, we are not teaching much of science, and actually we are more keen on teaching art and other subjects that are not required by the market. And all this is summarized here. You see all the developed countries in the world, and we are, in absolute terms, the country that is investing less in education. Let's now focus on the different high school paths and curricula. And here you see only the three worst regions. So you see the Liceo Classico and Sardinia and Tuscany. And then the professional, vocational institutes and schools and technical ones. Well, we have almost 50% of students that enroll but live earlier on the schools. And what they become? Well, they become unemployed people. And here, this is the cost of all this, and it's quite a high cost. Just a couple of figures for you to remember. Out of 1,700,000 that haven't enrolled high school, those that actually make it up to the diploma are only 45%. This has a cost, 27 billion for our country. But what's interesting is this yellow line. You see those that actually left the school earlier on without a diploma. Then you see that among them, then 45 will be unemployed. And actually, we should draw conclusions on this and understand that we need to invest more. So let's try and draw some conclusions out of all this. How should we assess, education in Italy? We are not spending enough money. We're not investing enough money. We have a low percentage of people with a secondary graduation and a university degree. We are not helping people in finding a job. In the Ministry of Education does not have herself a higher education degree. So I think this is not a good signal, a good sign. So why am I here to tell you all this? Well, because we, as a school, we have committed ourselves towards students and towards their families. So we need to start understanding the problems in the supply chain. It's not just glasses and that's it. It's made up of lenses and people that also deal with the equipment that we use to make site assessments. So it's quite a long supply chain, and we do have districts like the Belluno one playing a very important role. So we committed ourselves and we said, let's go out of the logic of being a specialist in one area, but let's see the view of the final consumer, the perspective of the end consumer. We need to make sure that the contact lenses or the final prescription glasses will meet the needs of our consumers. Otherwise, things won't work well. So we need to sort of start a revolution in our approach, and we need to transfer our strategic design. We need to bring in school what we can do in terms of innovation and efficiency. Thank you.
Grazie Professor Fatelli.
Thank you, Professor Fatelli. I will be very brief in introducing you to CERTOTTICA. We should start with a question. Why is CERTOTTICA dealing with training and education? Well, the answer is a simple one, because CERTOTTICA cannot but deal with training and education. CERTOTTICA is located in the eyewear district and maps the companies and institutions of the industry. In Italy, there are about 800 and 900 eyewear companies. 350 are based in the Belluno area, and out of these 350, we can find the flagship companies and the number one brands. We have about 19,000 employees, 12,000 in the Belluno area. So eyewear is key to the Veneto region and to the Belluno province. This doesn't mean taking a provincial, a local approach only. This means starting from the local area and understanding the global market and the global market dynamics. And this is something that CERTOTTICA does on a daily basis. And why that? Because CERTOTTICA is providing support to companies. CERTOTTICA was set up in 1992 as an eyewear and optical product certification institute. And why that? Because this was the need of companies back then, especially in the 1970s and 80s, when the first technical standards, rules and regulations started to be issued and optical manufacturers had to comply with. CERTOTTICA was set up in order to secure the safety and quality of eyewear products. And this was back in 1992 after a series of technical standards, rules and regulations. So CERTOTTICA was born out of a technical request from companies. And then a whole world was developed, including research and development, because CERTOTTICA is a research body recognized and acknowledged at a national level by the Ministry of Education. It is a European certification institute because it has been collaborating with many universities Europe-wide, in Germany, for example. CERTOTTICA also monitors the national and international technical meetings where technical standards are issued. And it does so by protecting and securing our Made in Italy standards and by protecting our national manufacturers. So it's not a question of being based in a territory and protecting that territory only, because we provide a comprehensive support throughout the area. So 60% of CERTOTTICA's customers are international customers, so we are a pretty internationally oriented company. Within this framework, the training and education activity of CERTOTTICA develops, here represented by the head of training and education. This activity complies with the same philosophy we follow for certification, research and development. So we start from a need by the companies, and we develop a customized path and program, a bespoke program based on the students' need. I think we can say we have the highest employment rate in the Veneto region, above 80%. As far as the Scuola dell'Occhiale ITS, well, the employment rate is 100%. And this is a result that was fully acknowledged by the region of Veneto. But we don't want to be self-referential here, and we do not want to celebrate our own success. We are here today because the agreement that was reached today stems from the needs of the companies, taking into account that there is a need for synergy and participation and partnership between eyewear and opticians. And these two worlds have been separated for many years out of many reasons, but they have now to converge. Training needs based on the need of manufacturers, as I said. Our chairman asked me to point out one piece of data. Out of the main companies located, many companies located in the Belluno province said we have to be ready to train about 200 workers that are expected to enter the eyeglasses market. And we are talking about very technical roles, very professional roles, as Fatelli said. So there's no way out. This is a must. We must be increasingly punctual, strict, technical, effective in providing training and education. This is what I wanted to transfer to you. So I explained to you our corporate philosophy, our life philosophy. And by corporate philosophy, I do not mean something neutral, because we do believe in the training and dedication of our students. We follow them on a daily basis. We know all of them by name, and we exchange and share views and opinions with them on a daily basis. Hence, we do believe in the potential of this agreement that Simona is going to describe. Thank you.
Prendo il gelato. Beh, vista l'ora, un po' di fame viene pure, se vai il gelato fa nascere delle tentazioni. Benissimo, allora.
I will try to describe our approach to training and education, and this is the reason why we wanted to meet CERTOTTICA to see whether there was any potential for a partnership in order to fulfill the training needs, not only in retail, but also to broaden up our optics optometry training offer. So what is needed to develop a bespoke product, and to the whole sector, because the whole industry is consumer-oriented, and we all aim at fulfilling the consumers' needs, as pointed out by the previous speeches. I'd like to start from our institute. Just a couple of minutes, as most of you know us. We have international relationships. We have been hosting English classes by an English institute in our premises, for example. Then we have a business and management school that used to have another name until some time ago, that provides bespoke training courses for distribution and industry. So in some cases we may have met without knowing each other. So in 2017, we celebrated our 40th anniversary of our school. This is the 41st year, and this is a guarantee for sound training and education. Well, clearly enough, 40 years ago, requirements were different. So we had to change our skin or to change our wardrobe because we need new clothes in order to adjust to the new circumstances. Under the pressure imposed by the world in general and by the companies and by students too, and considering that in 2012 the rules on jobs, on professional registries, and considering the coming into force of the Bolkestein Directive, we realized, even though we had always tried to focus on competences and capabilities, so we realized that the typical school approach based on good content and on traditional learning methods was a losing model. We had to do something more because we had to meet the needs of students and their families. Those who come to us may have a family business or may wish to find a job in the optical world. Well, these people don't have to learn a job and they have to have the necessary tools to enter the labor market. We want our students to have more tools than those who leave traditional schools. As we are in a free market, these students are our competitors. So we analyzed the whole framework in order to borrow some methods and some contents from other countries. We've seen that in Italy, if we consider education as a whole, ranging from kindergarten to university, is losing. We have many excellencies. But this is just an exception. This may be the tip of the iceberg. The majority of training activities are losing compared to other countries. So we did a benchmark with those countries which are much better than us. If you want to play tennis and if you want to be good at playing tennis, you have to learn from those who are experts. So we learned from countries that were much better than us. So we have realized that companies ranging from distribution to industry were asking for jobs and profiles that were completely different and that had completely different requirements than what was expected by schools and what was taught in schools. Hence, we developed our own vision. I took part in a roundtable previously, and some people said it is not necessary to have a good organization to be a good school, but it's like being in a kitchen without having a proper stove. So you cannot cook without a proper stove. So you first have to have a good vision, you have to know what to do, and you have to be able to manage the organization which is responsible for the whole path to the final consumer. So the approach to optician training is different and has to be changed. If we consider the turnover, the sellout in optic retail, we see that larger stores and modern chains are usually in department stores, and they have a much higher weight than traditional stores. So big and large stores that are usually managed by big brands with a better organization and with a higher degree of professionalism and skills So should we adjust to this new development, or should we go on acting as if they did not exist and simply fulfilling the ministerial protocol? Well, in the ministry's protocol, there are still some substances that are no longer used, so it is extremely obsolete. So we decided to change, and we started a revolution that had also an impact on the hardware and software of our schools. So the equipment, the relationship with our students, the collaboration with multiple partners from the corporate world, which are not only companies that are expected to hire our students at the end of the process, but also those who have to guide us through the training and education program. And we extended our school to new areas of culture. Well, we met, Dr. Fatelli and myself, we met in 1999 when we opened our business school. And back then, we started a very intensive collaboration with the companies in the field, especially with some stores which wanted to become larger and to provide additional services to their customers. So we adjusted our mission. We developed a new mission for our school. We want to integrate the whole sector, from research to product development to the final consumer. Those who work in the industry have to have a comprehensive view of what is happening upstream and downstream. Each individual person has, of course, his or her own role, but they must have a comprehensive view in order to be successful. And for this reason, the idea of an industry is extremely important. We want to provide for excellent training paths, and we want to be visible. We participate in OTI Club initiatives every year, and this is the best international platform for optometry, and we are very proud of it, and we're very glad and happy that it is in Italy, and we have to capitalize on that. And we contribute to shaping the optics world. We were the first to bring an English class to Italy, but we were also one of the first to fulfill English standards in order to offer this course. Well, no other institute has this type of certification. We want to give the labor market professionals with skills and competences that allow them to be quickly productive. When you start working, you receive a salary, you receive a wage. So companies have to pay some costs, and the world of training and education has to pay the companies back. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. And beyond well, we provide services in addition to what is foreseen by government protocols, and we take into account any new skills required by technological progress. Lenses, contact lenses, have dramatically changed through time. If people are not prepared, they cannot develop a bespoke product based on the needs of the customer. And of course, products need to be certified. And for this reason, you need a proper industry upstream if you want your product to be certified. But how can you sell such a product to the consumer if you don't know anything about the product and if you don't know what is in the price list? What kind of opticians are you if you do not know that? Thanks to the experience with the English Institute that has been going on for 4 years, and thanks to the Congress that allows us to share our views with other players, we raised awareness and we realized we had to change our labs. We have selected trainers in a much more accurate way. You have trainers and teachers with a great degree of experience. There are many teachers who are unemployed and who are also available at cheap prices, but this would not this would not solve our problem. And we also want to collaborate at all levels and throughout the whole industry, because we cannot offer any solutions if you cannot understand the world we are in. Here you see some pictures, the pictures of the equipment that we use in training. We use simulators, as it is the case for first aid operators and for medical training. And these are some of the tools that are used in our premises. We have also some rooms for testing. So we, to fulfill our mission, we look for the satisfaction of our students and their family. We strengthen our teachers and trainers thanks to new equipment and new professional skills. We constantly update our learning methods. But of course, mistakes are made, but our goal is that of constantly improving. Providing good training is an issue because it's not a service that lasts for a couple of minutes. It's a service that is going to last for many years. And so mistakes are possible and can be easily made. So what do? We are we offer a school for opticians, both in Bologna and in Milan, where a new school is opened school. Well, we will open a fully fledged school with a secretariat, with rooms like the one in Bologna, and we also have a conference room. And then a specialization course in optometry. We are moving towards aligning the device to the needs of the consumer, and optometry is a key in this respect. We have our business school where we have a customer-tailored approach, and then we have a congress, which is basically the summary of our mission. It is a think tank and a platform that we share with all the operators that develop the content, both technically and scientifically, both nationally and internationally. We have rooms, we have labs, technical rooms. We use screening equipment, and we have international partnerships. We can provide training courses not only in Italy but also abroad, and we have other types of activities and events that we organize outside of our school. You can have a look at our website. This is a picture that we took a couple of years ago, and by the way, there's a gentleman here which is also present in this room. We offered an English course because we were lacking some international experience, and some of these teachers went to us also. And this is the moment when we were in Birmingham during the graduation ceremony, and where graduates are celebrated. And here we are at the municipality of Birmingham, which is the second biggest city in England, where the steam machine was developed. So the Industrial Revolution started from Birmingham, actually. The very first steam machine was born there, so to say. So this is the agreement, and CERTOTTICA will then express their viewpoint. What we want to do is to develop and disseminate the optical optometrist culture throughout the industry. We want to provide retailers with the necessary professional skills that are not present yet on the labor market, and we would like CERTOTTICA to increase product culture, starting from standards, rules and requirements concerning product certification, and we would like to integrate these concepts into our school into our school curricula. So I'm very surprised because every time I talk about conformity rules, about technical standards, well, it sounds as if it's a nuisance, but this is an added value instead. A professional path must include some tools to increase and enhance the value of the final product. This is experienced as a negative value. The knowledge of technical standards, of rules and regulation is key instead. How can you sell something you don't know anything about? Thank you very much.
Aggiungo un flash, un telegrafico.
Well, our experience, a 4-year experience together with the English universities, taught us something fundamental. So we actually discovered that teachers go to school to learn, not to be judged. So we have to make sure that they learn, and we should not therefore judge them. Well, I'll try and be as short as possible, and not shortly, starting from the scenarios that we have heard about, and also considering the mission of CERTOTTICA in our world. Well, in the previous months, we have worked to achieve this agreement with Istituto Zaccagnini because we wanted really to sort of unite the two excellences that we are both representing. So we have Istituto Zaccagnini and CERTOTTICA, so we wanted to integrate our two reality, so has to be able to offer the eyewear companies and the optician world a more comprehensive offering. Because of course CERTOTTICA is working hand in hand with companies, trying and meeting the needs of the companies, and this is why starting from March we will be meeting with companies to present them in detail the offering that has come out of this sort of agreement. Of course, always bearing in mind that we need to sort of integrate our optician and optometry knowledge with the hands-on experience. So with a view of the eyewear product that is cross-sectional and includes lenses and frames. So this is the final aim, an integrated view. CERTOTTICA wants to work together with companies and accompany them in their growth trajectory. So we felt that there was a need there in the industry, and in order to meet this need, we reached the agreement with the Istituto Zaccagnini. So we do hope to be successful in our attempt, and we will start working together from next week. Maybe, you know, we have some journalists here, but also the whole audience might be interested in knowing that, indeed, we now have here represented a global knowledge, which is, it's not local. I mean, we could say global, but I don't like these slogans so much. We will have many opportunities because we are going to have different locations. So we have CERTOTTICA, that is there at the heart of the district. So this is the crawl of eyewear in Italy, where they are located. But then So it's their location, our historical site and headquarters in Bologna, and then this new Milan school that we are now opening. So, and Anfao as well, representing also the exhibition. So I think that all in all, we are covering quite a wide territory, so to speak. And this could be interesting, especially for the press. So have a good lunch if you still are able to find something to put under your teeth. And if you come to the CERTOTTICA stand, we do have some cheese and cold cuts for you. We'll try and sort of multiply our resources. It's actually Pavilion 6, stand number